Kia ora koutou whānau. Welcome back to another episode of Big Hero News. How are you all doing? Chewy's on his way. He's just got a couple of things he needs to wrap up at work, and then he is going to be with us. How is everybody? How's everyone in the chat? Yeah, I put a little message up there before saying if you want to come and join into Discord tonight, I think tonight would be a great night to actually have some chats with you guys directly. So I'm sure Kiwi Skirt in the chat there can get into Discord and put some links up. And if you want to come and say good day, you are more than welcome. What we'll probably do is go through a good portion of the show, and then in the last kind of quarter, we will end up inviting you guys to come and have a chat. Let me remind you, this is Discord. And over here, where you can see the mousey moving, if you want to have a chat with us, then you go into the waiting room where there are already people in the waiting room, right? So if you're in the live stream chat, like someone was just sitting for, we won't pick you up from there, but we will pick you up from the waiting room. Now, it's going to be the last part of the show. So you're welcome to jump in there. I've turned all the mics and stuff on, so you should be able to hear us through Discord. You can just listen in that way for the start of the show. And then, we'll come and catch up with you very, very shortly. I mean, if Chewy's a no-show, he won't be a no-show. He'll be here. Then we'll get to it more quickly. And if he's not, I'll just bring it back over there so it's out my way. If he's not, then me and Chewy will have a bit of a conversation with you. And then we'll end up going to Discord, getting some of your thoughts. So it's been a couple of weeks since we've done one. It was the budget last Thursday, I think. So we had Craig Rennie for most, if not all of the hour. So yeah, lots of things to talk about. You're welcome to come and have a chat with us. Discord is open. Jump into the waiting room as there are already people there. And yeah, that's about it. Yeah, lots going on. So I hope you've had a good day. I had a good day. People who work from home, I work from home, right? So I spend all of my time at home. It can be quite isolating to be at home. So I did something kind of fun today. I went into town, went to a cafe, sat there with my laptop and did a little bit of work just on my laptop. Looked at Snapchat, noticed one of my kids was in town, university student, messaged her, what you doing? I'm buying tights. Why don't you swing by for a cuppa? Yep. So we met up at the cafe and had a really nice, relaxing time. I don't know if most of you out there, most of you probably work for someone, go to a workplace, but if you're like me and you can sit in this little space that I'm in right now for several hours a day. It's quite nice just to change things up and get out there. Get out there, go. I used to do it a lot. I used to work in cafes a lot, and then grab a coffee and just sit and have one. And yeah, no, people are asking where's Chewy tech issues. No, Chewy's just I think he's got a work due. And so he said he'd be here a bit later. I actually messaged him and I asked him what time did he think, because that would be dependent on what we're, oh, there you go. So he'll probably be here in about 15 minutes. So give or take. But we've got some things to talk about, and what we'll do is we'll do the video content first, and we'll leave the more chatty stuff till when Chewy turns up. A huge thanks to all our patrons. If you are on board as a patron, of course, you'll be in the credits at the end. A couple of people who have signed up in the last 24 hours won't be on the show in the credits yet because I haven't remade them. But if you are a patron, a massive thanks for being a part of it. Honestly and genuinely, I mean, our patronage goes from $5 a month to $250 a month, and we've got people on all of those levels. And it really genuinely does help. As we said before, the computer loses a graphics card, $600. Okay, we'll pay for it because of you guys. The sound desk, as many of you know, blew up at the start of a show, and so we can sort out the sound desk, and it's all just about people supporting us and what we're doing. At the end, you guys will get all the credit that you deserve, who are part of what we do. If you do enjoy what we're doing, if you want to be a part of it, if you want to get alongside us in a tangible way, then patreon.com/Big Hairy News is a really easy way to do it. Patreon.com/Big Hairy News. If you're not in that mindset, you don't have the ability or the availability to do it, Just looked a bit dark. Sorry, I was just checking if my lights are on. That's cool as well. There's lots of other ways you can support us. Of course, just being here as a support, sharing our stuff around, telling us about people, telling people about us, I should say, being a part of what we do, being our advocates out there. And it's great because you guys tell people about what we're doing. And then when we contact people to talk to, they go, oh yeah, we've heard about you guys. Such and such has talked about you. Or I see you guys on Twitter through such and such's account. And so it honestly is really good. We've got a plan. I've got a plan to make up a little video, and the video is going to be a pitch to sponsors and advertisers. And when I make it, it might even be this weekend, what I'll be saying to you guys is, okay, team, go and sell us. You know, if you hear an advert on the radio for a company, if you see an advert in print or on a paper, well, go and tag them into this video that explains why they should be a part of what we do. And I know there's going to be some people in the chat right now who are going to be like, oh, we don't want advertising or anything on BHN. If we do go that path, it'll obviously be minimal because we don't need to be a radio station and have 40 adverts an hour. There'll be a couple, there might be a sponsor. And to be really honest, it's not going to ever be enough to pay for what we do, but that on top of Patreon, on top of the little bit that we get from YouTube, thanks to things like Super Chats, it keeps us going, and it will keep us going. Ultimately, you know this, me and Chewy would love to do this full time. Well, I kind of do this full time, but we'd love to do it officially full time, and that involves revenue. And so again, for those of you who are already providing an element of revenue through your patronage, we genuinely really do help you. In fact, I thought about this today. I wonder what it would be like if we didn't have that patronage, like if we were still doing it with no patronage. I'm not sure. It's not the main reason we do it, but it's an interesting thought to think how much it does genuinely help what we're doing. Here we go. Vicky says, BHN is often mentioned in a group I admin with 12,000 members. Very cool. Very cool indeed. Okay, so yep, I can see that Kiwi Skirts, there's some links being posted by Vicky. You guys can find us on Discord. You can get over there. There's really tons of people in there. So let's get into the show, shall we? Let's have a look at the show, and we'll do more video to start with, and when Chewy joins us, we'll do more conversational stuff. So let's have a look at the conversation from this morning. This, of course, is the ongoing conversation, and if you're with us last night, you would have heard that I had a sort of a meandering around what it would mean to have these changes in the Holidays Act. Now, the most difficulty I have with it is one of distrust. When I hear this particular government talking about making things easier, in my head, it's always making it easier for the employer, not the employee. So when they start talking about, it'll make things better, it'll be easier to monitor, I kind of think, okay, so your changes I can see are going to help the employee, but I'm more worried about the employer, the business. I'm more worried about the worker. So that's always my line of concern, even though one or two of the ideas don't sound terrible. Anyway, Kieran, as usual, was on breakfast this morning, and he kind of put a decent spin on it that makes me go, yeah, I can see what you're saying. What's fascinating is Chris Bishop keeps going, we're not touching the 10 days. Well, you are. You might not be touching it, but he says it over and over again. We're not touching the 10 days. We're not touching the 10 days. I'm like, but okay, you're not touching the 10 day for full-time workers, but you are touching the 10 days. I just wonder if they think, like with repetition, when you work in marketing, repetition means, oh my gosh, you're saying no sound? That can't be the case, guys. No. This can't be the case tonight. This can't be the case tonight. See what happens? No Chewy, no audio. Oh, fuck. It's hilarious, isn't it? It is hilarious. Right. I'm going to do a couple of things, and then I'm going to have to try and reload this up and see if it works. Hope you're all doing well. Talk amongst yourselves there for a second. And maybe after this, if it doesn't work, we'll go straight to Discord and see if that's going to work. Be interesting to see if it does. Share screen, turn that off. Entire screen, turn that on, hit share, hit hide. I'm now also going to go into the settings to see if there's some reason that the audio has changed. StreamYard mic, StreamYard speaker, they are on the right channels. Nothing else I can do about that. Let's have a listen again, people. I'm going to talk over this because I don't want there to be dead air. You can hear these guys talking in the background. You should be hearing it by now. If you want to tell me if you can, you can't. We are good to go. You should be knowing that now. And if you can, let me know. I'm going to pause it. They're saying no. Chewy! Good grief. Hey, I know. Let's go have a chat to Discord and see what's going on. Discord could be fun for tonight, and we'll see if there's an availability to have a chat with you guys. And we'll just do a whole night of talkback. That, of course, implies that Discord's working. So before we even get into it, I'm going to go and have a look at the audio settings in Discord. See what happens. You guys have to get on Chewy's wick. He's the guy. He's not here. It's all resting on him. Voice and video, disc microphone, that's input, disc speaker. Check, that seems to be working. So let's just do this. Let's see if this is working. Let's see if Discord's working, because if Discord's working, then maybe you guys can be my co-hosts and we'll just talk about what we're going to talk about. So everybody in Discord, Plan a Walk, I'm going to come to you first so you can turn your mic off, because we know that your system works and my system works together. So you can get ready to come on Plan a Walk as soon as I put you on. But for now, fingers crossed, team, because if this doesn't work, then you're going to have a bit of a diatribe from me and you're going to end up with not much audio going on as well. Okie dokie, we are now presenting this one like that. There we are. And we're going to go say hello to Plan a Walk. And I'll probably be able to hear Plan a Walk, but the question is, can you hear Plan a Walk? Turn the Discord fader up. Plan a Walk, you with us, man?
Ahoy hoy.
I can hear you perfectly fine. The question is, though, can people in the chat hear you? Now, Plan a Walk just said ahoy hoy to everybody. Can you hear me, Plan a Walk, by the way?
Oh, yeah, I can definitely hear you.
Okay.
I do have a suggestion, by the way. Maybe it's something to do with noise reduction or echo reduction.
Nothing's changed. I haven't changed anything. So, look, people can hear us, man. So let's get into it. You and I can have a chat, and we can just talk about some of the topics I was going to talk about tonight, or we can just do a night of talkback, which kind of sounds like fun. What can I do for you, my friend?
I kind of wanted to talk about something that I feel like has been very much left out of the conversation. And you and Chewy mentioned it sometime last week, I think, actually. Yep. And it is to do with the whole idea with the giving landlords, basically, I think it was $2.9 billion.
Yeah, that's in interest deductibilities, yeah.
Yeah. And the whole idea for that is that they're wanting to put downward pressure on landlords, or that's what they say at least.
That's what they say, yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's a bit of an issue with that, which is that that's being cancelled out by the fact that there's the rates that are going up because of the fact that the current government is saying, no, we can't have three waters.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's not just the rates going up, but, you know, you put tower, let's give them the credit by saying, I mean, no one thinks other than about 3 people in national, there will actually be downward pressure on rents, but let's just say that there is. They're taking away things like the free public transport. So if that family gets $20 a week cheaper rent, if it did do that, which it won't, but if it did, but then they've got 3 kids going to school and they're now paying $50 a week for their bus fares, then it's a loss anyway. So there's lots of things that are cancelling out that concept, even if it was to happen.
Yeah.
Hi.
And hi. I thought it might be a bit professional to turn my camera on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that when it comes to that particular thing, I feel like nobody's talking about it. The fact that the reason why they do have to put pressure in, at least in some way, or downward pressure on landlords, is because of the rates increase, and that means that it's just being cancelled out. And I hear, like, you are the only people that I've heard talk about that.
It's because we're the best planner. I mean, that's the reason.
I mean, you did have Chippy on the other day.
Yeah, no, look, it's lots of things that this government is saying is exactly that. right? They're I mean, like the when I say funniest, it's not funny like ha funny, but the stupidest this week was them telling us that the back room, losing people from the police service in the back room will not impact the front line. The commissioner of police says it will impact the front line, and then the politicians go, no, it won't. No, we think it won't, even though the head of all the police says yes, it will. So it's just ludicrous.
It feels like they're fundamentally, as a government, anti-expert.
Yeah. Government
Like-
anti-expert. Yeah. So everything. So it's upside down world. We do the opposite.
Yeah, like if you go back to Labour government, especially the Labour Greens government, or Labour Greens and New Zealand First government that got us through the COVID crisis.
Yep.
It was very much, let's listen to the experts and shape public policy based on that.
Mm-hmm.
And what did we get? We were the envy of the world because we managed to actually get rid of COVID.
Yeah. But some people couldn't get their coffees, and so that means Labour bad. Let's vote them out and get these guys in. Yeah.
Whereas this current government is very much, we don't need to listen to the experts. We know what's best.
Yep.
And if experts do come along and say that we're wrong, well, the experts are wrong.
Yep, 100%. And the only time that does show its face the opposite way is when the experts say things that back them up. So the first thing they have is their narrative. If the experts disagree with it, they go, no. But if the experts agree with it, they go, oh, you should listen to these experts. And, you know, Luxon has been saying that they actually won't, because there's a part of government where they prepare these documents before a policy, and these documents talk about what are the downstream effects, positive and negative, from this policy, what they can project. They've literally said we won't read those. And they keep getting brought up, especially by Jack Tame, actually, in all of his interviews. And it's just, anti-science, anti anything, these guys, upside down.
Well, that's actually part of what I was meaning when I said anti-expert. The fact that when it comes to policy decisions and they get expert, didn't they at one point try to, I can't remember if it was just they weren't going to read it or they tried to stop the expert review or something. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, by doing that, they are fundamentally anti-expert, which I think is a bad way for the country to be going in, frankly.
Oh, completely. And look, your point is incredibly clear and true and valid. And I think I'm not saying that they are anti-science, but you know the world of flat earth. When you move away from that logic and science and absolute, objectivity, which they are doing in their own way, nothing good comes from that. Nothing good at all.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre. You see people on Twitter and they say that there are some national supporters, believe it or not, that are still national supporters. And it's wild that they think that the current government is somehow grown-ups when all the evidence suggests otherwise. Yeah. All the evidence suggests that the current government don't know what they're doing, and that Labour would have been a much better choice for basically everything that we've been talking about over the past few months.
Yeah, that's very true. Hey, thanks for jumping us in this evening and starting us off. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
And we'll talk super soon. And I'm still going to get my camera off here at some stage.
Yeah, that's something that we do need to arrange that.
All right, Planner. Talk soon, mate.
All right, take care.
Thank you very much. All right, so let's just do this. Let's just do talk back in between these things. You want to throw some chats out there? We will. Kieran for Prime Minister 2026. You know it. Cookie says, tithe. I read that as tith. Tith? I think tithe has an E, doesn't it? But tith works as well. How about Spides? Let's have a chat with Spiderhoof and see what's going on. Kia ora, Ms. Hoof. How are you?
Hello, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Oh, good. Technology's just decided not to work for literally no reason because this channel's working just fine. But other than that, I guess the broadcasting gods wanted a night of talkback.
Yeah. We all willed it on you.
Yeah. What's up?
Oh, nothing much. Just thought I'd come in for a chat because I haven't been here chatting to you directly for a little while. So, just thought I'd say hi. How you doing?
You're doing all right, man. How are you doing? You kind of took a bit of a break from social media and stuff for a while and reassessed and went to relaunch things. How's that all going?
It's good. Everyone waited for me to come back, so that's nice. And yeah, so it was going to be 2 weeks, but I think it ended up closer to 2 months
Wow.
because it just was harder to come back than I thought it would be, to be honest.
Really?
But yeah, once you're used to being on holiday from things, it becomes quite nice, and yeah, difficult to go back to getting on with it as far as all the information going on in the world.
Yeah. It can be draining, eh?
Yeah, I didn't realize how much though. Sometimes I don't realize it. So I have now realized how taxing it is. So that I should just be a little bit more relaxed about it, to be honest.
Yeah, and be gentle. Be gentle with yourself. But it is hard. Like we feel that here. I feel that in particular because like we're trying to grow this thing, and as we grow it, we're feeding the beast. And if we stop feeding the beast, well, we drop back on our growth, and therefore we take a step backward. So we have to keep feeding the beast. And so yeah, no man, I feel it.
You guys have a whole lot more effort that you're putting on because you have to be here at a certain time every night, 4 nights a week. Whereas, I'm still a little bit of a freewheeler and just at my own timetable, leisure. So you guys do much more hard work than I do, and it's really appreciated.
Well, the truth is one of
But yeah, so the biggest upset I've seen recently is Nicola Willis getting up there to say get a job.
Oh yeah, what about that? How do they have more money? They get a job.
It was just so crass. It was just so disgusting. But also by her saying that, she's making the implication that everyone who is on job seeker is a dull bludger. So she's labeling everyone on there as people who don't want to work, and that's the implication from that statement.
Yeah.
So that's what she thinks of but obviously doesn't think about the fact that good portion of them are actually directly related to her own actions and her being the architect of many, many, many job losses across the public sector. No, that wouldn't cross her mind. It was just get a job then.
But
get a job.
It's not even the public sector theory, is it? Because we told unemployment will go up as inflation comes down. So unemployment is due to go up by another 4%. And that's the same time that she's saying, oh, get a job. Well, hang on. Even if we didn't blame them for some losses, the economy is going to spit out another 50,000-ish people into unemployment while she's saying get a job. So it's clueless is what it is.
Yeah, it's just out of touch, definitely. And also, I don't think she cares. I just don't think she cares. She just doesn't give a shit, to be honest. Yeah.
It is interesting. It is interesting because I was just talking about Mark Mitchell and others and Chris Bishop as well. When they're saying these things that are plainly false, what does that mean? Does it mean they believe the falseness, or do they not? Or are they fully bought in? Like some anti-vaxxers are fully bought in and others just play the hype. So what do these guys do? Are they fully bought in? Are they believers? Or are they just playing the role to get themselves the position, to get themselves the power, to get themselves the money, to get themselves the knighthood? You know what I mean? Are they playing a game or not? I don't actually know.
I believe because they don't blush when they're doing this anymore is that they are so desensitized to the amount of lies that they do that it doesn't even make a difference to them. Plus, I'm pretty sure a few of them are psychopaths, so, which are people who, and I'm not saying that meanly or any other way, but that is what people are when they are able to just lie and not be afraid of it.
Yeah.
And a lot of CEOs and this isn't dangerous people on a violent way, but people who are able to be unemotional about the things that they're doing, and I feel like that is a large number of Luxon's inner circle, at least. So yeah,
it's that idea, and I know this is not as black and white as this, but there's this little inkling that I've fallen into in the last year or so that I've been thinking over, and there's if I wanted to stereotype badly, but stereotype that those on the far right, what they often do is they'll use just logic with no empathy, so they don't have a heart. And if I want to stereotype the guys on the far left, they sometimes use just emotion or just empathy and no logic. And I know it's not as black and white as that, but what we're looking at are people on the far right, the right to far right, making these statements and running a country not based on what's the social good this public housing will do, but based on what will it cost. It's just the logic. It's just the fact, and it's none of the emotion. And I think most of us operate somewhere in the middle. We want to do both emotion and logic and find a happy medium.
Yeah. What you're saying there, the difference is socioeconomic thinking as well as just plain economic thinking, which is the two things that you need to get a balance on quite nicely for the best that a country can be. Which isn't happening right now. So, yeah.
Okay. we are seeming to be having a few audio issues tonight, Spide, so we'll leave it there. Thank you. And I'll just turn...
I just want to let you know, though, that if I win $50 million on Wednesday, I will fund you guys a couple of $100.
Thanks. $200.
No,
I looked at I looked at something the other day because I'm just interested in numbers. If someone had won the 43 million, put it in the bank at 5%, it was about $6,500 to $7,000 in interest a day. Which doesn't sound too bad, does it?
Amazing. No, I definitely fund you guys if I got lotto, so don't worry about that. Anyway.
All right, dude. We'll talk soon. All right.
See you later.
Thanks, mate. Bye-bye. All right, team. I'm looking at you now. Is the audio? I did change an adjustment, but I because I was thinking about the sound, so I've turned myself up now, and I'm just looking to see if that's. I've turned myself on and I've turned myself up to see if that's made a difference for you guys. I actually just thought this banner's also doing some crazy things. I don't know how that could impact the audio, but I'll just turn that off as well. People are saying it's better. Okay. I'm also now going to put some music on behind me while I talk and go to the next one, and tell me if you can hear it, because if you can hear it, like I've changed nothing. There is music playing behind me right now. And if you can hear it, it might be okay for us to move on. And if you can't, we won't. This is the music for playing behind me while we're talking about texting or text messages. Someone said, yep, you can hear the music. I've done nothing. All good. Done nothing. I'm getting mixed messages now because some people are saying it's my mic and some people they say you can hear it. Frosty pays a late fee. Thanks very much. Peter says, the right don't have any logic. I'm with you. Did I say logic? What I meant was facts. They only have culture war, so belittling and blaming the poor Māori and punching down is the only thing they have. Yeah, look, and I know that idea that I put out there that the right have facts and no empathy, it's not accurate. It's not actually what they have. But it's when we get into certain debates where, I mean, not that this is not a conversation that we need to talk about every day, but if you think about, for example, issues around gender and that kind of stuff, they'll go to the dictionary and they'll go, what does it say in the dictionary? And it kind of doesn't. So they're using a fact, a line in the dictionary, but they don't get that an identity for someone or a way a word is used can be more ethereal or more emotive or more societally based, and it can be a societal good rather than necessarily the fact in the dictionary. You know, it's that kind of stuff. I'm glad you guys can hear elevator music because that's what I've got going on in the background. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so we'll pull back on the word logic if I did say that. I normally say facts with no emotion and emotion and no facts. And that's sort of it. But anyway, well, listen, if you guys can hear that in the background, shall I try and do a story? I'm not saying it's going to work now because it's exactly the same fader. It's exactly the same everything. But if I just turn that one off and go to a different fader and try and go back to the story, and we'll see how we go. Maybe we will get chewy before we've done anything at all in this story. So here we go. I'm going to let it play. I'm not going to talk. I'm going to trust something's happened and it's worked, and you can tell me if you hear it.
Yes, it will be another broken promise. We were told that if National got in, there wouldn't be changes, and lo and behold, now they're proposing some changes. I don't agree with them. I think just because you're a part-time worker doesn't mean you get crook part-time. And the result of that is if you are crook and you've got to go into work, you'll make other people sick, and that's going to affect the workplace. There's a reason. That's
actually a really good point. When I said that, he said some good things like, what does a boss want? Does a boss want someone out for a day and have to figure that out? Or does a boss want, and Chewy talked about this last week, does a boss want that sick person to come in and knock out the rest of the team and impact the next 2 or 3 weeks of work in that workplace? Any kind of serious boss will not want to knock out the workplace for 2 or 3 weeks. Any kind of penny pinching boss or someone who doesn't care about their staff, I guess that could be a different story.
And we have sick leave, particularly when you consider that many part-time workers are parents.
Yes.
And so the possibility of having to look after a sick child is there as well. So it doesn't quite make sense. If you look at it from an hours perspective, if you're working 20 hours and you claim a sick day, you only get paid for that half day that you were going to work. It's not like the employer has to pay for the full day. So in that respect, from an hours perspective, it's already relevant to how much you work.
Yeah, Chris, I'll bring you in here because a lot of our viewers are writing in and saying exactly the same thing in terms of, as Kieran has pointed out, just because you're on part-time doesn't mean you get sick part-time. So many people are writing into us about that. So, why does it need changing?
Yeah, so the first point is we committed to keeping 10 days sick leave, which we...
That's what I'm saying. He says it over and over again. We're committed to keeping... Well, hang on, but you're changing it. We're committed to keeping it. Yeah, but you're not... Okay, so you're keeping it, but you're not keeping it the same. You're keeping it, but changing it. Like I'm keeping my car, but I painted it a different color and all the wheels have been taken off, but I'm keeping the car. But it looks different. It operates differently. Yeah, but I'm keeping the car. Okay, so you're keeping 10 days, but whilst you're keeping it, you're also changing it.
Keeping. Second point is this is just a discussion document which looks at a whole range of changes to the Holidays Act and the way sick leave works. And any small business out there, in fact, any big business knows the Holidays Act's a complete nightmare, so we're trying to sort that out as well. The proposal is basically if you work 10 hours a week, and there's some, I encourage people to read the discussion document because there's some actual practical real life examples of this. If you work 10 hours a week, you're entitled to your 10 days sick leave. You get 4 times as much sick leave as someone who works full.
So there's another answer, eh? And that's to give full-time workers 40 days of sick leave a year. I'm just saying that would also solve the problem. But if you're looking to solve the problem, that would also solve the problem of evening it out. But what he doesn't actually do is then go the other way, right? He doesn't go, so if you're only working, 10 hours, then you should only get 2.5 sick days a year because that would be proportional. If you're working full-time, 40 hours a week, you get 10 days. Therefore, if you're working 10 hours, then you're only entitled to 2.5 sick days a year. They don't mention that though. They just keep going on about 4 times.
Full time. So you work a quarter of the hours, you work 10 hours a week. So you, in a full-time job's obviously 40, you get the 10 days sick leave. Someone on 40 hours a week working a full-time job, they get the 10 days sick leave as well. So the proposal is just basically, should we prorata it in the same way that annual leave's prorated? So
in other words, should we give someone doing 10 hours a week 2.5 sick days a year? That's what they're asking. That's the reality.
When you accrue annual leave, if you work part-time, 20 hours a week, you get half the annual leave pro rata as the person who works full-time. So it's, I think, pretty straightforward, to be honest. It's just a proposal, and it's just to try and help business out there and make it easier for them to administer. We've had a lot of feedback from small business in particular.
Oh, look at Jackson Media. You gorgeous hunky yunk, you. So if I work a 70-hour week, look at that. Okay, pro rata would mean close to 20 sick days. And I'll tell you what, Jackson Media, if you are working 70 hours a week, you probably need 20 sick days. There you go. Perfect. Good question. Should be asked. I missed it, but I will own that as my own now, Jackson. So nobody say they saw Jackson say it first, and then I can pretend that was my idea.
About how difficult it is, the way the system works at the moment. So we'll put it out there, see what people think about it. But I don't think it's a broken promise. It's just a sensible proposal.
Well, he said they weren't going to touch the 10 days. They are. This is why he's having to say, well, 10 days are still there. 10 days are still there. But no, we know. We know.
Kieran, I'm gonna leave you to answer that, Kieran, because the Prime Minister did say in August last year that the 10-day sick leave wouldn't be touched. Chris is saying actually that 10 days is staying. What do you make of that, Kieran?
Well, I think there's been so many broken promises that they're now having to quibble over what he meant when he said it.
And this is the thing, right? And this is the thing where we're talking about the Holiday Act and stuff, and there's a distrust. And there's a distrust because they aren't keeping their promises. And this, for example, we're going to talk about this a bit later on, this, when it comes to the treaty referendum, if they're breaking these promises, they've promised not to take the treaty referendum past the first reading. That's what they've promised. But they also promised not to touch 10 days. You know, there's other things they promised that they swiftly moved away, and their excuse for moving away was, well, coalition. And okay, the treaty's principal bill is, oh, well, coalition. It could be the same reason they break their promise.
Said he wasn't going to change sick leave entitlements. And this is changing sick leave entitlements. Now, a full-time worker will still be entitled to 10 days, as they should be. I'm of the view that a part-time worker should be entitled to their equivalent. Now, as I said, if you look at it in hours, they're not taking a full day off. If they're crook, they shouldn't go to work because they will make other people sick. That's the whole idea of sick leave. If you're not well enough to go to work, you shouldn't have to. So they're either going to make other people sick or they're going to miss out on wages just because they're part-time. And the thing that I thought of last night when I saw this come on the news was if somebody has had mental health problems and are easing their way back into work, they will do so most likely through part-time hours. Yeah. And we want to be able to ensure that they take the care that they need to get back on track. Now, those people are facing having fewer days than other workers. That's not going to help their recovery. And I think that's pretty short-sighted.
Yeah.
I'd just encourage people to read the discussion document. I mean, there's some examples in there. You know, there's an example, I think that's from a dental hygienist, 2 days a week.
Remember what we've said before, and remember this every time you hear them talk. They always go to an anecdotal example. I'm sure there are people who getting a pro rata version of sick leave might work better for, as Jackson said earlier, and others are saying, well, if I work a 50-hour week, do I get more? Maybe that's going to be a thing. I suspect it's not, funnily enough, but maybe. But what they do is they always go to an example, an anecdotal example, which is an extreme. And he's about to give us one. And what I want to know is that the rule, Bish, or is that the exception? Because when we make legislation, we legislate for the rule, not the exception. No, because the exception, some of the exceptions are going to always fall through the gaps, good or bad policy, right? Not okay is going to happen. But the way we make policy is a cover rule for most, not changing policy because of one. So have a listen to the example and just think, how many of these are there in the country? If this is the reason you're changing the law, how many of these people are actually in New Zealand?
And there's an example, I think that's from a dental hygienist, 2 days a week at one practice, 2 days a week at another practice. They get the 10 days sick leave at both practices, and it racks itself up. So
how many people? How many people is that? They work 2 part-time jobs at 2 dental surgeries and get 2 lots of, how many? Handful? It's not the rule. It is the exception.
Look, there's a lot of anomalies out there, and no one's saying that people shouldn't be entitled to sick leave. I want to make that really clear. It's just the way the system works with part-time work and things like that. So, look, it's a discussion document. We have a look at it, see the feedback, and go forward from there.
At its heart, I think, is an assumption that there are thousands of people out there taking the mickey and having sickies. And we all know that there is a risk that some people do that, but those that aren't the type to do that sort of stuff are potentially getting penalised. Most New Zealanders, if they're well, go to work, and if they're crook, they stay home. And
and I mean that's the thing, isn't it? I'm sorry, I knew that Pulisic work was coming up, but it still made me gag because it's pretty funny. He's a pretty funny dude. He's working on his bumper stickers for the next election, I think. Junk Rig Sailor says, thank you for the super chat. As much as I hate the coalition, apart from a couple of glaring cases, they are doing what they said they would, i.e. right-wing nut job policies. Labour had the chance, i.e. tax the super rich, wealth tax, but chickened out. I don't necessarily agree with that, Junk. I think they are doing some of the things they said, and then there's things that they're including which they never talked about. smoke-free 2025, and there's other things that they said they wouldn't do that they are doing. So I think you've got a mix of all three. I mean, what you're saying is not wrong, but I don't think that they're necessarily only doing what they said. There's more. There's both doing things they didn't say, and there's also not doing things they did say. That makes sense? That makes sense. But yeah, I get you. Yeah, we warned you. That's what we did a clip last week when we said we warned you. We warned you what was going to happen. Citizen Gold says, to Peter Sim's point, facts are established through the application of logic. Oh, it sounds like we're getting a bit of a debate going on in the chat right now. Alex says this is another attack on women and the disabled. Are we saying, Alex, that that's for the sick leave? Is that what we're saying? And if we are, I'm assuming it's because women and disabled are more likely to both work part-time jobs and probably be more likely to require sick days. And especially for mothers, you know, when your kid's sick, often more, I would say more likely than the father. There's no need for it to be the mother, but would be someone who would stay home with the child, perhaps. And Nick also says, thank you for your super chat. Kieran is always better dressed compared to Bish. Bish looks like he's wearing yesterday's clothes. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. My system's playing goofy tricks on me right now. There we go. I think the audio problem might have been to do with actually my system. And because Chewy's not here, I can't go and reboot it. I've got little things jumping all over the place. Yeah, it does look a bit disheveled would be the word that I would use for the Bish's style. Yeah, any other chats going on we need to get to? Pat going to cover the pet pothole fund, 4 billion subsidy for trucking companies who are most responsible for doing the damage, but somehow rail doesn't pay its way. Go figure. Look, I mean, I guess I'm someone who I want well functioning operating roads, but not at the cost of other things. I mean, roads aren't the number one priority, and I agree with you about rail. And I think that what I'm seeing with this government is not an either or, it's an and but. Like, it's like, we'll only do this. There's no continuation on. We'll only do the roads. We won't do the roads and the rail. We'll only do the roads. Whereas you could do both. You could do both if you chose to do both. Like, for example, if you don't give $3 billion for landlords. More super chats popping in there. Spides, thank you for your super chat. It says, I've got to mention I can do the promo video for you over the weekend if you want to. Oh, that's an interesting idea, Spides. I'm actually writing a script at the moment. I'm writing a script and I sent it to a friend who's a sales rep in the media world, and he said what everyone has always said to me: make it shorter. So I got to figure it out how I'm going to say it and what we're going to say. Sarah Hallinan says, have you got Marcus Lush on tonight? No, we don't. What do you think that? I wonder if we can have a little competition. You guys have seen in the description of tonight's show what we're talking about tonight. Can anyone guess what the connection with Marcus Lush is? Should I give you a clue? I'll give you a clue. I'm going to play Marcus Lush tonight. I'm going to play him. Not going to speak to him. I'm going to play him. Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? No, not trains. Not trains. Stairs? Why does Marcus Lush be stairs? I don't know. Not trains. Not, aha. Yes. But what? But what, Vicky? What about Misspelt suburb? You are correct. That is the correct story. Why have I got a picture of Marcus Lush on to talk about misspelt suburb names? Wait and see. I just got a text message from Chewy there. He said he's on his way. We will see if he gets here or not. Let's move into another story though, because this is a repulsive, repugnant story, and hopefully nothing's happened to our audio. Treaty provisions are set to be scrapped from the Corrections Amendment Bill. A story on TVNZ, it's brief. I mean, the written word probably is more descriptive than anything else. But let's have a look what this government is deciding to do with corrections.
Multiple treaty provisions are set to be scrapped from a bill governing our corrections system. It comes as the government looks to review all references to the treaty in legislation. Our Māori Affairs correspondent, Tiana Huri reports.
There's a common thread that binds these former inmates.
Been born into gang or an environment of domestic violence, drugs, alcohol.
All of them are traumatised.
And many of them are Māori. Staff at the Grace Foundation say the key to keeping them out of prison is connection to culture.
They're Māori.
Now, can someone confirm in the chat for me, Dave Littell, obviously the brown butterbean, Dave Littell as well, dad, I'm assuming dad and son, I'm assuming. Someone can confirm that for me if you want.
But there's no identity there.
The ultimate aim for us is to repatriate them or to have them reconnect with their whānau.
But treaty provisions in the Corrections Amendment Bill that would have compelled the department to ensure prisoners have access to cultural programs like this are now on the chopping block.
It's really a whitewash of the care that's required, that's unique to our culture.
Other treaty provisions set to be scrapped include a requirement to provide equitable rehabilitation outcomes for Māori, allowing inmates to take time away from prison to access cultural activities, and taking into account the views of whānau and iwi when deciding where an offender is detained.
Now, for me, this is what happens, yeah? If this is the best way for this particular individual who is Māori, who is in prison, when they get released from prison, because remember that's 99 point whatever % of people in prison, to then be successful out of prison, then we should support it wholeheartedly. And I'm pretty sure the research is clear about this. However, this government has a couple of add-ons in ACT and New Zealand First that got elected, even though their leaders are Māori, to put their knee on the neck of Māori. There is no reason to get rid of this. There is literally no reason other than, it feels a bit weird that those Māori can go into a meeting and others can't. It's disgusting.
To be honest with you, corrections have got very strong relationships with iwi and hapu now. That is a critical part of how we do business.
But if it's a critical part, Mr. Mitchell, then why would you remove another arrow in your quiver of how to help Māori going through that system? If it's a critical part, the relationship between corrections and iwi, then why would you remove another way to help Māori be successful once they get out of prison? It just seems to make no sense to me.
This is a ministry where there is an over-incarceration of Māori people, and this is a straight-up treaty abuse.
A review into treaty clauses in all legislation is currently underway. As for the Corrections Amendment Bill,
there's no point in actually adding these provisions until that review is completed.
We asked if he could foresee provisions.
There is quite a lot of wait and see at the moment, isn't there? I mean, we just literally got that from Bishop. Oh, it's just a discussion document. It's just a discussion document. Wait and see, wait and see. And again, Mitchell. Bit of a wait and see.
Being put back into the Corrections Bill after the review.
I'm not going to prejudge that.
Cold comfort to the people who run programs like these.
I like it how they say, I'm not going to prejudge the bill, yet everything they're doing and trying to remove is quite literally judging the bill. So just as a reminder, as I said, I think the text version was as good. Last month, so this was ideas and initiatives put in by the Labour government. Iwi and Māori experts throughout the country were involved in the development of draft treaty provisions, and the legislation was introduced to Parliament by Labour. But of course, Labour bad, so we need to get rid of it. Last month, Corrections Minister Mark Mitchell sought Cabinet approval to remove these provisions in their entirety. They include equitable rehabilitation and reintegration outcomes for Māori, a requirement on the Chief Executive to ensure the development, maintenance and implementation of a strategy that is focused on improving outcomes for Māori in the correction system to address long-standing Māori needs. Now, to already get in here and figure it out, if if the biggest chunk of people in your establishment, which in this instance is a prison, are Māori, yet you're saying we aren't going to do anything for Māori, that would seem to be counterproductive as well. Another thing that was in the legislation, making access to cultural activities a purpose for which prisoners can be temporarily released or temporarily removed from prison. Ensuring prisoners have access to cultural activities regardless of the prison in which they are detained. So they're literally removing the idea that prisoners can have access to part of their culture, activities that reflect their culture in prison. So they always talk about those kind of four walls that are in a when you get put in solitary confinement being the worst. I mean, if you're just basically removing every element that someone can relate to through their culture from the whole grounds, from things you can do, it just must be like the whole thing is a single cell. Be awful. Enable the views of whānau, hapu and iwi to be taken into account where appropriate and practicable in decisions about which prison offenders are accommodated in. Very, 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 very clear wording here as well, where appropriate and practicable. So if a prisoner is high need, high danger, and there's nothing locally which can suit them, then they need to go to a more secure facility elsewhere. If they're low risk and somewhere locally can house them that's near their their family in particular, then they can take that into account. It just seems, I mean, we keep talking about this government being mean, and I'm sort of aware that that's got kind of a, teenage girl vibe to it, but it just seems that so much of what they're trying to do is vindictive, just vindictive and nasty, and won't give them the outcomes, Mr. Luxon, that you keep telling us you won't give them the outcomes that are best for New Zealand overall. Peter's saying in the super chat, the hyperdrive must have broken on Chewy's right. Cunning stunts. You always say that one quite carefully. Thank you for the super chat. How about investing in education and prevention instead of more fucking prisons? Yep. And sure, it's just a flick, that's a buck. There you go. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the super chats. Yeah, I don't know if we see Chewy or not. We may see him, we may not. We'll have to keep on rolling and keep on rolling. How's the old the last story I'd actually quite like to talk with Chewy about, and you guys have got it, yeah? It's this one here. Māori names proposed for Auckland suburbs. I would like to include Chewy in this conversation, so why don't we do this? Why don't we go to Discord for a little bit? Just for a little bit. See if some people want to have a chat. And I heard the pop. Are we going to see him coming in? Oh my goodness. Did you hear what did you hear what I just said?
Yeah.
And you didn't think,
I just knew.
I should have done something like, come on guys, I bet you if we get a $200 super chat, Chewy will turn up. I bet you. No, just kidding. Don't do that. That'll be silly. Hey man, how are you?
Hey, not too bad.
Do you know what happened at the start of the show?
Everything went wrong.
The audio didn't work, and everyone blamed you.
Classic.
Everyone blamed you. And then I opened Discord, and we started chatting on Discord, and then it all came back again for some unknown reason that I didn't touch.
Gremlins. My webcam. What else do we blame?
Yeah. So actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play some of my funky elevator music in the background because you've just come in. Has that changed anything? Make sure people can still hear what we've got. Although the next story is essential that we do have a little bit of music. I mean, a little bit of sound. So just confirm for me in the chat, guys, that you can hear this. Yeah, just started again. There was a pause in the music. I'll turn it down. You can hear that, actually. Normally, this is how we check it out. Chewy can hear it. All right. I really wanted you here for this, Chewy, because I think you're going to cringe. And we're having a bit of a competition as to why do people think Marcus Lush is on the thumbnail. And they've got this. It's to do with this story. Any thoughts, Chewy?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Right.
We'll keep going. So here's something going on in Auckland at the moment, and it's a fascinating conversation because it does happen around the country from time to time about correcting place names. There's a couple of places in Auckland. I mean, one where I was growing up in Auckland was known as Takanini, which is spelled Takanini. There is a desire to change it to Takaanini. It's Takaanini, and it is pronounced with the split in it. I believe that says somewhere else in the story that what it means with two words there is the board has also received proposals to correct the spelling of South Auckland suburb Takanini to Takaanini for both suburb and railway station. The proposal was endorsed by Mana Whenua, etc., etc. And I'm pretty sure it said it somewhere what it means. But here it is here. The board says the spelling with the double A correctly reflects that Takaanini is a compound word made up of taka and anini, together meaning giddy or whirling. Giddy, that's kind of cool. And the other one is there's an area here down by Key Street, which is, for people who don't know Auckland, down at the viaduct, down in sort of bottom of the harbour there, that they want to call, maybe this doesn't have a name at the moment, Te Tōangaroa. Te Tōangaroa. They want to change that as well. There hasn't been too much of an uproar at the moment. It's a proposal that's going on. However, it did make me think about this subject as more conversational, yeah? And here in Dunedin, we've got some places that I think everywhere in New Zealand has errors. So I used to live in a suburb called Wakari. Wakari. And people call it Waikiri. Don't know how they get that from it, but it was Wakari. Now, the mountain behind Wakari is Whakaari, Whariki, or Whaariki. So you can see somewhere in translation, Wakari has been bastardized about it. However, what we think sometimes is that this is a new thing. Here's an example of a new thing. You could hear that music, eh? That was right. This is a phone call with Marcus Lush from lovely Dunedin in 2019.
Oh, I love
Would
this
you
one.
deliberately call a cheese camembert?
Hell no, I'm better than that.
But you don't. But you'd mispronounce Opaho.
No, it's not mispronounced. That's my hometown, Marcus.
No, that is. But if I told you how it was pronounced, right?
Well, it's a bit late now, dear. I'm 83 soon.
But why is it too late now?
Oh, because that's my birthplace.
But if you're deliberately continuing to mispronounce it.
No, I'm not deliberately.
Well, if I told Mary, so if I told you how it was pronounced, and then if you found out how it was pronounced, well, then you do it.
No.
But why not? Because then you would be
willful. It's mine. It's my region, Mike. No, disrespect to anybody.
But Mary, well, it is disrespect because then you are being willfully ignorant. You are.
No, like hell I am.
I like that. No disrespect. No, I'm just calling their language a pile of shit. No disrespect. No disrespect. Yeah. This plays till about 4 minutes. We got to get it all because it's not gold like great. It's really ugly and sad, especially when basically she goes, I would continue to pronounce it incorrectly because it's mine. It's like, oh, like Chewie said last night, the second place get naming rights. Is it really yours? I mean, how did that work?
Yep.
Well, but you're deliberately pronouncing it wrongly.
No, I'm not.
Well, you are.
Oh, well, thanks for that, Mark.
Literally by the definition you are.
And I'll keep mine.
No, but if that's not how it's pronounced, right?
I finally find this out on the Thursday night. And after all this time.
Yeah, but isn't that exciting? You can learn something new.
Oh well, I'm onto that too. I'm just certainly nothing pedantic, whatever the word is about me. But no, that's
racist. Is that the word?
And I love the word Opaho. I had friends from Scotland. Oh, you love Dunedin, and I'm all right with it. No, but I'm certainly not ignorant, and please don't call me that.
But you're deliberately mispronouncing it.
No, I'm not. No,
you are.
No,
you are, and you've said that yourself. But that's fine. But own it.
I haven't said so. I've said I'm not. No, it's not ignorant, and I find that insulting for you to say that about me because I'm not, and that's as simple as that. Okay.
She's so close, eh? It's insulting that you call me ignorant. She's so close. It's like they're always on the edge. You're right. There is something insulting going on in this conversation, and you're so close. And there's a second caller that I want to play you as well, because she starts off being all chipper and cheery, and then she does the "I guess you're from Auckland" idea, which I've experienced having moved from Auckland to Dunedin 10 years ago.
But you are deliberately mispronouncing a word.
Oh, don't keep saying that, Marcus. Don't keep saying that.
Okay, I won't.
All right.
But that's the truth.
But you are.
From what? Anyway, 7 from 11. Nikki, Marcus, good evening. Thanks for calling.
Oh, good evening, Marcus.
Hi, Nikki.
How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Good. I listen to you and normally laugh away, but tonight, Marcus, you've really got me rolled up. Mary is quite correct in what she's saying. I'm a lot younger than Mary,
She's
but
not,
coming 83
She's not,
and saying Opaho. I grew up in Dunedin, and Opaho is the way that you say that. I was a Mosgiel girl. And
Now you listen.
True.
But listen to this.
But
call,
it's not
though, right?
correct.
It's she's very light and very happy, and you wait till you hear the bigotry come in. It's not Oamaru. You know, you can really hear the angle change when she gets it. Now we're going somewhere with this.
The Taieri Plains is how you pronounce Taieri. And
sorry, Nikki, what are you saying?
There's no Taieri and there's no Oamaru. That's not the way, an elderly person.
It's literally got the letters in it.
Should be respected in the way that she grew up in Opaho. We don't, have you got a lot of Maori in you too, Marcus, or something? Well, we don't talk like that down here. We grew up in...
Wow, you are extraordinary.
Opaho, and we grew up on the Taieri Plains.
This call almost should go to Te Papa.
Yeah, I tell you what.
To highlight someone that is just so willfully...
We don't speak like that down here, and
so you are deliberately misrepresenting a language.
No, I'm not. I'm
okay. Would you call that cheese that you buy Camembert? Would you go to your Shishi deli?
I call it Camembert.
Why?
Because I'm actually educated, and I grew up in
Excuse me, Nikki.
God.
You call it Camembert because that's how it's pronounced.
Yes, that's right. And Opaho is pronounced Opaho.
And
Oamaru is pronounced Oamaru, and Taieri Plains, for the whole life that I grew up there, is called the Taieri Plains. And nobody will change that.
So you want to continue pronouncing it wrongly?
No, I'm not pronouncing it wrongly, and I'm with Mary. Where you grew up in Auckland and you've arrived in Southland, you need to learn how to pronounce these places down here.
There you go. You get the gist from there on out. And I the reason I play that, Chewy, is I know about your skin crawl being so more kind of a, person from down this way more than me. But a couple of things. And I've told this story before. That's changing very much. Like I grew up a wanky Aucklander and spent 40 years of my life there, or 35 years of my life there or something. And I noticed when we moved down here that it wasn't like what you're hearing, even though that was 2019. So I was talking to someone at a friend's house and they were like, "Oh, what did you do on the way down?" And I was like, "Oh, we took a tiki tour on the way down and we went to Taupo and we did da-da-da-da-da-da." And she was like, she looked at me and she said, "You're the only person who I've heard say Taupo correctly other than the person on the weather." But she said, say it correctly. She didn't say, "Oh, that's not how you say it." And it happened again when I used to live up on Tairi Road, which is up by Wakari. And I ordered a taxi once and I said, da-da-da, Tairi Road. And the person went, "Where?" And I said, da-da-da, Tairi Road. And I said, Taieri. And she said, "Oh, Tairi." And I'm not the person to correct people on language. And I just went, "Yep." And she went, "Oh, you're just saying it properly." So there was a bit of a vibe, like it seems to be an in-between stage of people knowing in Dunedin that there is a different way to pronounce it, but maybe they were a bit shy. They couldn't quite get their tongue around it yet, but they weren't like Mary. I do have one other thing to show you as well, Chewy, but jump in, sir.
Look, I'm South Island born and raised. I'm from Timaru, just up the road from Oamaru. Sometimes we go on a holiday to Tekapo. And I kind of get, without defending these people, I kind of get where they come from, is that they grew up with these names. That's what they're used to saying. Where it diverges is where someone goes, well, actually, we've learned and we've listened that we're mispronouncing them. And South Island is full of them. And a lot of them, like the Tairi Plains, when you look at how the word is spelt, it's not Tairi. It's just how people have said it for 100 years.
Yeah.
And it is changing.
One of the beautiful things about the Māori language is the phonetics. Like I've never seen this word before, this word I just said, but I can look at it without having any background or knowledge in studying Māori and go, well, the first part is te awa, that's toa, then it's nga, that's nā, and then it's roa. So it's toa na roa, or a version of that. I've probably mangled it. But that's one of the beautiful things about Māori is that it's incredibly phonetic and quite easy if you break it up to attempt to say it correctly.
And look, I've spoken to my mother, but as I've mentioned before, my mother has worked for corrections. Obviously, they put in effort to pronounce it, and when that started happening for her, when they did this push of like, let's say these names properly, she took that very personally to start with. My way of saying where I grew up isn't good enough anymore, and I was like, no, Mum, it's not personal. Imagine you get someone's name wrong at work and you're saying it again and again and again, and then eventually that person goes, actually, my name is this. Do you keep saying it wrong now that you've been corrected, or do you do the polite thing and put in an effort? And you might not get it right all the time because you're in that habit, because you've been working with them for a little while. And she goes, oh, well, that's a good point. I had a conversation with my cousin, which is, she is born and bred in Dunedin, quite a few years older than me. And we were talking about the alternative name for Dunedin, Otipoti.
Otipoti.
And she likes it, but she cannot say it. And it's just like, I'm not used to those vowel sounds and that sort of thing. That I can understand. But when people go, no, I'm not making an effort, even though you've told me that, and even you've told me, like, unarguably an actual fact. Yeah. You go, no, I'm not saying it wrong. No, it is. And there's heaps of justification. You can go, hey, look, I'm 80 years old. I've always said it this way. I'm probably not going to get it right. Fine. I can accept that. But don't come at it going, Māori's not a real language. Yeah. Don't come at it as I'm right, being disrespected wrong. Because I'm choosing to say this like aggressively. This is like that's willful ignorance.
Yeah.
And we talk about these Auckland suburbs, like this is happening all over the place because people are coming around to it. Like Otago is a corruption of Otako. Yeah. And look, it's not just Māori. Dunedin is prevalent for this. And Peter knows the Scots wouldn't like Dunedin's pronunciation of Corstorphine or Corstorphine. So, we just get names wrong down here. Cold brain doesn't work.
I think when you start talking about names, like people's names, it's a really easy one. So some people change their names when they get married. They go from Smith to Jones. No, my whole life I've known you as Smith. That's what you've been. I'm not going to change it. I got a friend who World War One, his Māori family joined up and went and fought in World War One. World War One Māori didn't get paid to fight. And so he walked up and he said his name, and his surname is Ruka, R-U-K-A. And the guy went, Lucas. And he went, yep. And so he wrote down his surname was Lucas, and he wasn't identified as Māori, and he got paid. And my friend, I knew in the early 2000s. So that's basically 100 years they kept that name in the family, Lucas. And in the last 5 to 10 years, my friend has gone back to Ruka. And imagine if I went, no, sorry, mate. You're Lucas. I've known you as Lucas my whole life. You're Lucas. It's ignorance. Now, there's one other thing I wanted to share, because lovely Mary and her friend afterwards, this is an Auckland thing, or you might also think this is a modern thing. It's really not. It's really, really not. How about Otago Daily Times, 1893, page 4. I took a train trip out through the Tairi. It goes up into kind of central Otago. It's a scenic tour up to Knobs End, which everyone loves Knobs End because you jump out and take a photo beside the thing. I'm at Knobs End. And of course, it was when I was fairly new to Dunedin, friends came down, we went on this trip. The conductor comes across and he tells a story about Wingatui. Wingatui is a suburb out by Mosgiel where the raceway is. And the story is there was a man who lived in Wingatui and he went out hunting one night and he saw a tui and he shot it and he missed it, but he winged it. And from evermore, the place was known as Wingatui. And my bullshit nerve went, yeah, that doesn't seem real to me. I mean, if anything, you'd call it Wingdatui. You wouldn't call it Wingatui. It just didn't make sense to me. But this is the you've probably heard that story, Chewy. That's the common parlance of that thing. So straight away, whilst I'm on the train, I got on my phone and I found this article, Chewy, and you'll love it. So this is not a new story. This is 1893, 131 years ago. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I love this letter because it uses words like spake in it. It's fantastic.
Okay, cool.
Sir, I am reminded by a friend that I have not fulfilled my promise to sum up the evidence for and against Wingatui. By your leave, I will now proceed to do so. I love this so much. It's so cool. He goes through and he talks about how he thought it was a whangatua at one stage. This is what this guy thought.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes through and he tells the story and he talks about Waihola, a corruption of Waihora. So there's another mistake out now here in Dunedin. Goes through, goes through.
No L into there.
Yep. Went through and he talks about the legend of the story of Wingatui, and he gets to the end of it and he says this. Let me see if I can find it. I'll just read it to you. I'll just read from here. A letter from a gentleman well versed in the Māori tongue, which sets forth the old name thus. A native from Henley tells me that the place where formerly a forest grew was known to old Māoris as Wahingatui, a dividing or separating of tui birds. This might well be after the birds had been snared. So what's more likely? Some dude winged a tui or someone bastardized Wahingatui? So I love that story. For one reason. I hate it for one reason because it stayed like that for 130 years. But I love it because, you know, people will think about, you fucking millennials, you fucking Gen Zs and their woke tards and all, they're going to change. No, this conversation's been going on for over 130 years down here. And I'll tell you what, get a Scottish place name wrong in Dunedin and there's hell to pay on the front page of the ODT. But the thing I wanted to show is that this conversation about place names being changed is not new, is not woke, is nothing like that. It's been going on since the country began, and some people have been wanting to get the names correct. If I had a record of me somewhere in my old boys network for school and they'd misspelt my name and I've been out of school for 30 years, I'd be like, it's been wrong for 30 years. Could we just change the spelling on it now just to get it right? Because it'd be nice. It'd be nice to get it right. You know, it'd be nice to get it right. And I love that story about Wahingatui, and I've used it a lot since I found that out. But the bullshit nerve worked.
That's a great piece. I love it. Look, one of the things that I love about getting these names right, and I've mentioned a couple that mean a lot to me, like have always said Tekapo, and finding out that it's actually closer to Takapo. And just, again, you get that knowledge and you try a little bit harder. And it's not a zero-sum game. It doesn't matter if you try and don't quite get it right. It doesn't matter if you forget sometimes. The attempt is important. It shows respect. But to actually get these names right, and quite often there's a story behind them, that I really appreciate. This came about through the names of the Auckland suburbs and that sort of thing. But there's actually been a couple in the news, both from here in Otago and elsewhere in the country. So we've got this one. Kind of made me a little bit mad because it is exactly what we're talking about here. Central Otago Council rejects Maniatoto name change. Central Otago Mayor Tim Cadogan has stood against his council as the lone voice supporting a Māori name correction in the district. So this is exactly what they're talking about. They acknowledge that the name is wrong, and that it means nothing in its current form. They acknowledge that the proper name translates to the Red Plains, referring to the area's native tussocks spread across the plain, which is great. That tells a story about where you are. And the current name has no meaning in Te Reo Māori. So they acknowledge the error, but do not support a change.
Okay, boomers.
And that's exactly what it is. They are afraid of the kickback because there will be kickback. But at this point, it's just like, just acknowledge the change the signs when they need to be changed. It doesn't need to be this whole thing where everybody's immediately wrong. And then, in a very similar vein, consultation opens on a plan to change Petone spelling to Petone.
Yeah.
And this is kicking up the same sort of thing, exactly the same thing that we had on that call for Marcus Lush. I haven't been saying it wrong. You're saying I'm a dumbass or a racist or that sort of thing. No, we're just pointing out we've got it wrong. Yeah. It means something if we do it this way. It's a garbage nothing word if we do it the other way.
Yeah.
But it kicks up, like, people are very sensitive about it. It's almost like this inferiority complex comes through. But I think when you change it to it is a respect thing. This had a name when Europeans arrived. We've got the name wrong. It's like you don't entrench an era, in my view.
Yeah.
But things will change.
Very good.
Things will change. People get better at this. But I think every time it comes up, it educates some people, it pisses off a lot of other people, and some really ugly racism comes to the front. And if it comes to the front, it can be confronted, and it can make people reevaluate their stance. So painful.
Right. Hey, listen. Thank you, Gold. The current government is vindictive. Yeah, that tracks. Appreciate the super chat. And also, Nigel says there is a fantastic video on the pronunciation clash by the Māori sidesteps. All right, I'll have a look for that.
I'll look that up.
Now, Chewy, because you weren't here, sir, we actually went to Discord and it worked. So we had a couple of calls on at the start of the show. There are some people who have been hanging around for quite a long time in Discord. I think what we should do, if you're cool with it, Chewy, is just jump in here. Look, we're already getting towards past, but jump in here and just basically say to everyone who's there, we'll come to you. You got 2 minutes. What do you got to say? You down with that?
Yeah, sure.
You okay? Because you've come along and you've extended my story by 7 minutes with your fabulous insights. And so everyone who's in the chat right now, in Discord right now, no one else join, please. This is it, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people there. We'll just go through. We'll say g'day to you. We'll start at Campbell at the top and go to Paula at the bottom, and we'll say g'day to you. We'll give you a couple of minutes interaction, and then we'll move on. Not to be rude, not because we want to hurry you along, just because people want to go to bed at some stage. So Campbell, turn your mic on. You're going to be first, and let's do a little bit of talk back. Hubba huge. All right, Campbell, that's you, sir or madam, as the case may be. Hello.
It is me. Hello. How you doing?
Yeah, doing well, man. What's up?
Oh, not much. Just been watching the show, listening to all the political stuff, trying to, I guess, get in on the action.
Yeah. So what would you like to offer tonight?
I guess just the main thing. I was speaking to Kiwi Skirt in the chat about this a little bit earlier. The little message from Simeon Brown when he made his comment on the transport thing for the potholes.
Yeah.
I just thought, first thing I thought of was that money could have gone straight to the cancer drugs.
Yeah.
Or just like
$4 billion on potholes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, $4 billion on potholes, and again, it speaks to the same thing. They're just all about the roads and nothing really to do with the rail, and apparently now nothing to do with cancer drugs. So
it could have been 3.75 billion and paid for cancer drugs, and it still could have been 3.75 billion. So
exactly,
pretty sad, eh? Yeah, cool, man.
With that, my thing is that he's raiding money from a fund to prevent potholes. to fill in potholes that are already there. So if that's not a better analogy for what this government's about, I can't think of one.
And I think the notation as well that they're saying that the government prior to this didn't actually pay any attention to the roads as well is actually a fallacy.
I got to say as well, Campbell, I think you get kind of thumbnail of the day. Got flames and stuff. There's animation on it, kind of doing things. That's pretty dope.
That's my old streamer side. Don't pay any attention to that. Right. That's my younger side. I'm 22 now, but that was my 18 or 17-year-old side.
Oh, you're an old man, Campbell. What are you? Shouldn't you be in bed? They start serving dinner for guys like you around 5 o'clock, don't they, you old fella?
Well, that's just to try and get rid of the baby face. Other than that, yeah, I'm still probably a baby.
All right, Campbell. Thanks for your call, mate. Appreciate it.
Yes, thanks for your time.
All right, no dramas at all. And we're just going to go down the line. So Guru's up next. G'day, Guru. What's up? Gosh, that's 90s, isn't it? What's up? Turn your mic on, Guru. Come say hi. Guru, waiting for you. Giving you a couple of seconds. Your mic is off. I'm getting annoyed with my own voice, as is everybody. All right, I'll come back to you, Guru. We'll give you a second chance and go to Frosty. Frosty boy. Hey, Frosty, what's up?
Kia ora tātou.
Kia ora tātou.
How are we all doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. I spent the afternoon in a cafe working on my laptop, so can't really complain.
Oh, very nice. Just wanted to touch on the Māori names in that.
Yeah, go, man.
And there's been, I can't remember when this was. I think it was either late last year or early this year where they was changing Petoni's name to Pitoone.
Yep.
As Petone was a butchering of the Māori word Pitoone. But it's also there's heaps of words, cities around the country where that's actually a butchering of Māori rather than an actual Māori word. I think Porirua is a good example of that, because Porirua is a butchering of Pariaroa, which Kupe himself, which if you trace it back, Kupe himself named that city. Pariaroa, you've got cities like even Wanganui, right? Wanganui, but that's spelled Whanganui. It's WH there, you know. So that's another butchering, you know. You've got cities all over the place that you just don't realise aren't actually Māori, are just a Pākehā-fied version of that Māori word rather than...
Yeah, that's like the example I gave earlier about where I used to live in Wakari versus Whakaari, or with Waihola, which is Waihora. So that's, even Otago, as Chewy was saying, it's like honkies have got here and gone, I think that sounds a bit like this, written it down, and then it's become gospel.
Yeah. It's just, even Parapara Umu. Like, people call that Paraparam.
Paraparam.
I don't even know.
Mate, you can even go shorter. You can even come shorter. Pram.
Yeah,
Pram was real common.
People get that.
Just heading up the road to Pram.
I don't understand how you can get Pram from Parapara Umu. I mean, it's like, come on.
Yeah, it's a tough one. All right, Frosty, thanks for dialing in. Appreciate your call.
Tēnā koe, fellas.
All right, catch you next time.
Cheers,
hey,
buddy.
Chewy, I just sent you a message in the private chat. I'll just bring it across and show. Do you think we can talk about this one? Place names one? I'm not going to read it.
Oh, God, yes. Like, I love that this was up for discussion.
Did anyone complain about this one? Do you want to? You can read it. You can read it, Chewy. I'll let you read it. I've done all the work tonight. You can read this one.
Okay. 3 place names in
or not. No,
we're dialing in this. 3 place names in North Canterbury containing the N word will be changed to reflect the offence caused by that word. Land Information Minister Louise Upston says N word stream near Arthur's Pass, N word head, which is above Lake Sumner, and N-word hill. People, why did it take until now?
That was 2016, I think. Yeah, 2016.
2016, but still, Jesus.
Do you know what's interesting about that? That's under the national government, and if it was this national government, 2 parts of the coalition party probably wouldn't want of those names changed. Like, being real, they may well not have. So how the National Party has changed over a few years. I'm glad you didn't go there. Right, let's try Guru one more time. This is your only chance,
to
Guru.
have your trust, Pat.
Guru, say g'day.
G'day.
G'day there,
You got me?
mate. Yeah, gotcha. What's up?
Oh, okay. I'm just going to quickly go over here and mute my YouTube because there you go. I've got a delay. That was what was confusing me. Anyway, you got me?
Yeah, we're with you, man. What do you want to say? What do you want to offer?
Okay. I just joined. I'm going to look at what the hell have I just joined? Discord tonight. So forgive me for being a bit unfamiliar with where I'm at.
No, welcome.
But I just wanted to actually compliment you, but also make a comment, which I think a lot of people might agree that what works is you guys, and particularly with guests, specifically with guests, really, but also with discourse with hunters. But is you kind of let them tell the story. You're not busy there trying to get them. You know what I mean? The entire media landscape now is full of gotchas and people trying to get their little clickbait headline and bullshit. Whereas you're just saying, this is what we're talking about. Tell us your story, you know?
Yeah. I think it's what we do as well. I mean, like, to be honest with you, the only time I feel like pushing back quite hard in an interview is if I know it's limited time. Sometimes you'll get a politician and they'll say, I've got 15 minutes. And if they were to say that to me, if a politician was to say to me, I've got 15 minutes, what I would say to them is then answer the question, or I'm going to have to come over the top of you. We don't do that. That's not our style. We want to ask questions and give you space. But if you don't answer the questions, then I might push back more quickly because of your time frame. But yeah, we typically like to have open-ended conversations and just let people explain.
I think, like the other night with Chippy was, everyone had their preconcepts about, and they probably come out with the same concepts, but you got a chance to sort of like, you think they were sitting down and have a bit of a chat with Chippy, you know?
Yeah.
And it kind of was nice rather than this cold steel media kind of pressure cooker interview. You know what I mean? It was just a bit more relaxed and a bit more, and you could ask them, you could even repeat questions from us. A conversation. That was, I think that's what's sadly lacking in our world. No one has conversation.
Yeah. And I think, look, to be honest, Guru, that's what one of the things we try and do here is, I always say to people, in an ideal world, it's like having a chat with a mate at a pub. That's what we tell people, guests and stuff who are coming on. Hey, look, welcome to our Discord. Thanks for joining us tonight, Guru. Appreciate you got your stuff sorted out there. We've got to keep going, though, so let's go say g'day to Jackson Media. Jackson Media. Oh, it's not doing it for me. Sorry, we'll go again. There we go. You should be with us now, Jackson. Hey, man. You need to... There we go. Mike just went on. Hey, Jackson.
How you going?
Good, man. How you going?
Not bad, not bad. First of all, have you seen the new website being promoted by the lovely people at Family First NZ?
Yeah. What, the woke one? It's hilarious.
Yes.
Oh, can I just mention about that? We found out about that today at my workplace. That's listed on that website. And we were most offended about the fact that they have ranked us less woke than some of our competitors. So we forwarded it to head office, going, we need to be more vocal about some of this stuff. Clearly,
he was on old Bob McCoxcree. What was the name they made for him last time we talked about him? Anyway, he was on with Kieran, and even Kieran went, you know that we're not really supposed to be into cancel culture, eh? And old McCoxcree was like, well, it's not cancel culture. It's just deciding where you want to put your money and everything. And it's like one of the more hilarious things is I used to belong to a church in East Auckland back in the day. And there was another church down the road who were like a little bit culty. And they used to come out to their young people that do not go to these movies list. And of course, they were the first movies that all the young people went and saw. And I just feel like this thing is like, cool. All right, where do we want to put our money towards companies that are inclusive and accepting and loving and friendly? Like, thanks. We've got a list now. Who do we avoid? Okay. And the funniest thing I thought, Chewy, is there's no banks that aren't woke. So I guess they're going to have to start up their own thing for mortgages and stuff, but there's no banks that aren't woke. Yeah, it's hilarious.
There's no
telco company.
Yeah.
There are a couple of banks on there that are not on there that are operating, like the TSB and stuff. So you do have a couple of choices.
It's pretty hilarious. I just think it's hilarious. I think that these guys, you know, I believe that what they're doing is most charities, not that they're a charity, but people who need to fundraise off people, every 90 days need to have a crisis to fundraise. Like even Greenpeace, right? Every 90 days, they need to have something to get the fundraising dollars coming in. That's what they're doing. Every 3 months, they come out with their new things for everyone to be afraid of, everyone to be, and it's just kind of hilarious. I just looked through it going, oh, good on you. Oh, good on you. Oh, good on you. It's pretty funny.
What I wanted to bring up tonight was this family boost thing that National are doing.
Yeah.
And what the flow-on effect is going to be on our education system. I'm just looking at the table here. You've got to spend $300 in weekly childcare to get a $75 rebate. Now, how's that going to work for the low and towards the middle income? And I can't afford that. At least with the 20 hours free, they were able to go for the 20 hours, learn social skills as well as prepare them for school.
Yeah.
And I know for my own kids, going to early childhood education was really good for them.
Yeah.
I just think this is going to affect the education system going forward.
Yeah. I think you're right, Jackson. And I think what we found out was that it's all payment in arrears as well. So someone has to come up with 10 weeks worth of that full amount and they get to claim some back. And you're talking about people who don't have much money. They're obviously the vulnerable, the working poor beneficiaries are going to be the one to get impacted most at all from that. Hey, thanks for your call tonight, Jackson. We do need to move on just because we've got some other people we're going to get to. Appreciate that though for tonight. I know it's a quick one, but like I said, we're just trying to get through everyone as we get to it. James, you there? You got to turn your mic on, James, and come and say good day. You got to turn your mic on, James, and come and say good day. I'll give you another 10 seconds, and then we'll put you back in the waiting room and give one more chance.
Hello.
Look at that. Look, just made it, eh? Made it. Were you listening to us on YouTube? Is that what it was?
I was listening to you on YouTube, and I had to turn off the volume on the YouTube, and it was all out of sync as well.
All right. We're here now. What's up, sir?
Hello. I just wanted to, I just had a look at that woke website, and I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, not good. So I decided it might be highly appropriate to talk about some really woke shit.
Cool, man. Woke away.
I brought it up in the last. I was hoping that you might be planning on talking about it later on, but this terrorism and violent extremism research funding that's been cut by the government.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
It's just the whole theme of this government being racist and pandering to white supremacists.
Yeah, I actually messaged Professor Joanna Kidman today to see if she'd come and talk to us about it. He hasn't come back to me. I've had a few interactions with the professor, and you say the professor, it sounds like X-Men, doesn't
cool.
it? So hopefully I might hear back from her over the weekend, and we can certainly nail that down. Because yeah, it's a shocker. It's like literally, what is it, going from $1.4 million to $500,000 a year? People who are looking to investigate extremism and terrorism threats in the country. Yeah, cool. And
as a direct result of a mass shooting in Christchurch that killed 50 people. Because of white supremacist extremism. That funding was as a direct result of that and the Christchurch call and everything, and here's the government slashing the funding. It's just, it's like, it seems like a bit of a theme tonight, just talking about racism and backwardness and stuff, and this government seems to be going full tilt at it.
Yeah, for sure. I was I've approached Jazz Thornton to come and talk to us about the legislation around stalking. And I was looking through her TikTok today to get a contact, and there was one of her, TikToks has just got her when the government came in, just putting on a Māori koru and just going, I'm Pākehā standing with Māori. This is when the government got elected. This is before they even did anything. And I'm just like, it started then and it's getting worse. So I have no idea what it feels like to be Māori in the country right now, but it's like, the only way I can kind of think about it is your everything is getting torn down. Like your everything, the things that have been fought for the last 50 years, your language, the things that are promised you in the contractual agreement, all being, so your everything is under attack at the moment. I just have no idea how that must feel.
Yeah, I mean, they are. I think it's a big it's an othering, right? It's an othering. It's like Māori are them, and you get it from all of these people who feel like, you know, that the white people are us, and they are them. And I guess it does take a bit of an effort to think about it more inclusively and just say, look, you know, Māori are us. We are New Zealand. All of us are New Zealand, and we should be celebrating the cultures that make up New Zealand. And Māori is the first culture of New Zealand.
Yeah, it's
right?
it's that idea that I always kind of think that I'm not Māori. I always say I'm so white, I'm almost pale blue with my Irish ancestry.
I tan pretty good, but I'm white.
But if I'm of New Zealand, if I'm a New Zealander, then the Māori story, it's a part of my story because I'm a part of this country. So I can take ownership of it in a part of the history of this land of which I'm a part of. So that means even though I don't whakapapa to that story or bloodline to that story, through where I was born, where I've grown up, and where I've kind of taken ownership of my own life, that story is a part of the background of the land I belong to. So therefore, it's a part of my story. And that's how I've always kind of thought it.
100%, completely agree. It's, you know, the stories of this land and all of its people are part of who we all are and part of our national identity, and we should all be proud of that.
Yeah, cool.
Right.
Yeah, 100%.
Thanks for calling in.
Cheers. Oh, and great to hear Chippy on the show. Bloody hope more of that happens.
Yeah,
more
I think
awesome.
we will be. I think we'll be getting more of them as we go through. Chewy, I know that I'm dominating because I dominate this bit more. So why don't you talk to Kiwi Bird and I'll just sit back and shut up. Hey, Kiwi Bird, you're on.
Hello. There we go. We hear you.
I hear you.
Can you hear me? Pat, can she hear you?
Yeah. Are you good, Kiwi Bird? I think Kiwi Bird might have the setup slightly wrong.
Guys?
Yep. Okay.
I can't seem to hear you.
All right. Well, we're going to have to put you back, Kiwi Bird, because we can't go round and round just without hearing it. I'll come back to you one time, Kiwi Bird, if you can sort out your end, and we'll just go to Paula. Kia ora, Paula. Come in, wherever you are. Say hello, and we say hello back. You could even say kia ora, and we'd say kia ora back as well. So people are listening to us. This is the clue for next week. Don't listen to us on YouTube. Listen to us through the app. Hey, Paula.
Hey, how you going, Ned?
Yeah, going good.
Okay, cool. You can hear me.
Yep.
I was coming in to talk about the Darling Select Committee I had to play dance with today because I was in a bad mood after that.
Oh, yes. Yes, tell us about your experience there.
Well, I was going to do that, except the whole Discord chat, that last article with Marcus Lush and the conversation that has ensued has put me in a really good space. So firstly, thank you.
Chewy says you're welcome.
Yeah, and I remember I do actually come here for the medicine. But I say that because I think it might have been, it wasn't Frosty, I'm not too sure who it was, it might have been James, who talked about the vindictive racism that just seems to be unpiling and offloading. And you just mentioned, Pat, I don't know how Māori are feeling this week. Well, this Māori is telling you, yeah, we're feeling that and feeling interested. But enough of that. We can talk about the Select Committee another time, I guess.
All right, Paula.
Is what I say in my best possible English. I'm really enjoying the conversation you just had about the place names and I appreciate, Pat, your discussion about how Kupu Māori are constructed so it's not hard to navigate around it. So that's a really key tool. We can add to that tool that you seem to have mastered quite well. I put a comment in there, perfect, Pat, perfect, about the way you've constructed it. Once that's mastered, the next step for a learner is to start just tucking away what each piece of the word means.
Yeah.
And then you can start to Lego words, new words as you come across them together and work out the meaning just from what's being constructed. It's like a chemical formula.
Yeah.
Place names are a great place to use that little practice.
Yeah.
And I know I don't actually know South Island names. I struggle with South Island names because it's different dialect altogether, but I can have an educated guess about it.
Yeah,
no,
the dialect thing
Yeah.
is really interesting. The like when we talk about mispronunciations and that sort of thing, the one that I had quite a bit of fun learning about was Wanaka. And it's Wananga. But of course, down in the South Island, the NG sound is as a K, so that's how that's become corrupted.
Yeah, and it's diverted, but that's an exciting trip for somebody who doesn't speak South Island, such as myself. So every time I come across what I know as a South Island identity, like Rakiuta, I'm going to slap in an NG there just so that I can get my worldview and start to. But I will use the K when I'm using South Island names. I won't implore or subsume that K with my NG just in my mind translate it, but I will still use the language of the original people. Which is something Joanna Paul used to do when she was a newsreader. She made it her point to practice every Arabic place name, French names. She never said France, she said France. That was Joanna Paul. She might have been around the time of Marcus Lash. Anyway, I admire that and I really enjoy that. Anyway, just a little tool for you guys.
Thanks, Paula.
Yeah, well, there was a little tool, so just to get you there.
Yep.
The next, once you've got that mastered, piecing it together, start looking at rivers are really exciting. Somebody mentioned Whanganui. So once you work out that whanga means harbour and nui means big,
Big harbour.
you pretty soon realise that that river is only one part of it is the harbour, and the rest of it has another name. Every bend has a name. Learning those names is really exciting, and that is true of Waikato, and that is true of all of it. Rivers are really exciting to start to explore on that count.
You've just made me look up a river that I consider quite important to me because it's where I spent all of my summers. Rangatata. And it just came to me. I've never looked up the meaning. So I've got here the Māori name Rakatata or Rangatata has variously been translated as the day of lowering clouds or stairway to heaven or the side of the sky.
And does it look like that?
Yeah.
Maybe at a particular time of the day? Is it a braided?
I could imagine it. Yeah, it's a big braided river heading just straight up into the Alps.
I guess that because
I love it.
And ranga means to weave.
Very cool.
That's good. That's how exciting it is. There we go.
Thank you.
That's a lovely way to end the week. Thank you, lads.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on.
No worries.
Really appreciate your insights as always. And we're going to give Kiwi Bird one more crack. And then we'll wrap up for the night. Kiwi Bird, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you.
Hello.
It is the one and only your favourite libertarian socialist.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I've just been busy making memes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, I want to keep it nice and short. First question is, when are we getting custom emojis for the Discord?
When I understand how Discord works.
But
Okay,
I can tell you,
gotcha.
one of the first will be that Grimace Luxon. That has to be there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's god tier, that one. All right, so quick commentary. Yeah, so I was listening to those silly old ladies, Mary and her mate. What was it, Nikki?
I don't know.
Anyways,
I can't remember. We don't want to put that person.
The dinosaur sisters.
Yeah, the dinosaur sisters, the Karens. Now I'm on the Māori ward. It is scary to know that these two are probably going to vote on whether or not I get to have representation.
Yeah.
It's not very ethical, for starters, for them to decide whether or not I get to have a Māori ward, considering that's part of the deal of being on the Māori roll. It'd be like removing their ability to have a general ward. You know, it's 3 votes per person in a local election, and they want to essentially water down my vote to 2 votes, and then replace the Māori ward with the general ward.
Yeah.
A lot of these people. And it's been really frustrating having this conversation with people. It's like, guys, this is undemocratic. You know, almost 10% of the Māori population are on the Māori roll, guys, come on.
This
is what I didn't sign up for. I signed up for a Māori representative.
I just think as well
it's a really good point.
But yeah, but one of the things that's just so obvious to what they're doing is we aren't voting on rural wards, are we, Chewy? No one's brought up and they said, oh, we should definitely, okay, if we don't want specialist wards that only some people can get associated to for some reasons, let's just look at the Māori ones, not any of the other ones that have a classification that I can't be in because I don't live rurally or whatever else. It's just blatant, eh?
Yeah, it's really obvious what they're doing, and I'm so proud that my council were at that meeting, especially my mayor, Tracy Collins. Shout out to her. She's a based mayor, but she was at that meeting opposing the referendum bill.
Very cool. All right. Anything else today before we sign off for the week, Kiwi?
No, that's all. That's all, fellas.
All right. We appreciate your chats.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All the best.
Cheers.
Appreciate. Yep.
Have a good evening.
All right, Chewy. Well, you came along for the last 40 minutes of the show. It was the best 40 minutes of the show. So we're done for the week. I think we did everything. You got the best one as well, the best conversation. We talked about the corrections getting rid of treaty provisions, and we talked about, obviously, the sick laws. There was a conversation between Kieran and the Bish this morning that we played. So that was what we did, and you had fun. And that's us. Anything you want to add? You want to wrap up for us?
I'm glad seeing comments in the chat that they've really enjoyed this almost impromptu chat right at the end. It's gone for half an hour.
I love
it. And look, when everything in the media is when we're talking about Māori is negative, every time someone brings up maybe we should do better at saying a place name, and everybody loses their fucking minds, and that's all you see in the comment sections. I see you in the chat going, this is fucking great. You know, and I think this is the energy that you need to take into conversations about those, and they don't have to be combative. They don't need to go straight into like you're old and you're racist. That softly sometimes is find out what the person's hesitation is. You know, I was just flicking through other articles around it. And there's this one about, you know, as I've said before, Timaru is wrong. It's Timaru. But I saw this. We have this issue with people pronouncing it correctly. There's a bit of stigma behind that. So we need to kia kaha, be strong when we're pronouncing things correctly, so there can be a tipping point so everyone can pronounce it correctly and not feel ashamed.
Yeah.
As an educator to the Māori, the biggest obstacle, especially for adult learners, is anxiety.
Wow. Yeah. I guess that's what I said before when people are like, you're saying it right. They're saying you're saying it right, but they're like, maybe we're a bit too shy to do it. That's the same sort of vibe, I guess.
Yeah. And I get that because I feel that myself.
Right.
And if I haven't pre-read something, there's that shift of like, oh, I've got to change my vowel sounds. So, you know, when I'm bringing up an article, if I haven't pre-read it, if I haven't prepared myself from it, I stumble and then I feel bad. And I shouldn't, because I do try and put in the effort. I see the point for it. But yeah, it is that fear of like, oh, I'll fuck this up and then everyone will hate me. But this is the thing. The two ladies on Marcus Lush's TV show, they felt maybe anxious or inferior or stupid, or they felt that people were calling them racist and that sort of thing. And maybe it was deserved, maybe it wasn't, but their reaction was to dig in.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very natural reaction from people when they feel under attack, is to dig in.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something that can be extended out about. I think when you see clear racism and you see that really, where you've been informed and you've taken a position and you're just being willfully ignorant and racist now, I think we could all recognize that. But we need to bring people with us and we need to get better ourselves. And I'll keep trying.
And I think there is another side which is a bit sadder about bringing people with us. There's also going to be there's an attrition to that attitude as well, because as they move on, I mean, this was in 2019. I don't know who that lady was, but she was in her 80s then. Then the majority of those views die with that generation. Sounds awful way to say it, but it's a truth as well. Stuart, thank you for the $2. Paying to move the ambulance to the bottom of the hill based on some of these conversations we've been talking about. Peter also says, if you Google Ngāi Tahu Atlas, you'll get a great resource. I guess that's for pronunciation from Peter. Thank you, Peter.
I have done so.
Are you seeing Peter's name on that, Chewy? Because I can't see Peter's name. My computer's doing strange things. Is Peter's name on that graphic you're looking at right now?
It is doing strange things. It's actually above his profile image.
Okay, yeah, it's a bit weird. All right, but so that was probably part of the problem tonight. All right, team. Hey, listen, it's the weekend. Be safe out there this weekend. Have a good old time. Look after yourselves and your loved ones. And I guess we will probably see you on Monday night from 9 p.m.
Pick up the news. Big Harry style. Keeping it loose. New Zealand, where the politics play, they bring the truth every single day. Talking about the mess all over the land. They shine a light with a mic in their hand. No time for cheese, just facts straight up. At their mighty voice, Pat and Chewy, they'll make the right choice.
What I think is funniest about this whole thing, Chewy, is there were 600 live viewers when we started playing the song. There's still 543 who are still listening to this song. Thanks so much for being a part of what we do. Thanks to all our patrons who you're seeing being a part of the credits. If you want to be a part of our patronage, then head to patreon.com/Big Hairy News. We appreciate you. Stay safe over the weekend. Hug a loved one. Watch a good movie and tell us about it next Monday. And we'll catch you Monday night from 9 p.m. for the next edition of Big Hairy News. Hooroo from me.
Yes, man.
Anything from you at all? Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. You're already playing games online. See you, team. See you Monday.
Cheers, man.